Hi, welcome to the quiz. You can answer along on quizalto.com, all for free. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started, good luck. What happens to the data in an Amazon FSx for Lustre Scratch file system when you increase its storage capacity? The file system becomes read-only until the capacity increase is complete. All existing data is deleted and you need to reload it after the capacity increase. You must create a new file system and manually migrate the data. Existing data is preserved and the file system remains available during the capacity increase. When increasing the storage capacity of an FSx for Lustre Scratch file system, existing data is preserved and the file system remains available throughout the process. Which AWS service can be integrated with Amazon FSx for Lustre to enhance data analytics capabilities? Amazon EMR, Amazon SES, AWS X-Ray, AWS Glue. Amazon FSx for Lustre integrates with Amazon EMR to enhance data analytics capabilities. How does Amazon FSx for Lustre enhance data processing for HPC workloads? By providing scalable performance. By implementing serverless computing. By focusing on data archival. By using blockchain for data validation. Amazon FSx for Lustre enhances data processing for HPC workloads by providing scalable performance. What is the purpose of the Lustre monitoring tool provided by Amazon FSx for Lustre? To track performance metrics and debug issues in the Lustre file system. To monitor the cost of the FSx for Lustre deployment. To automatically scale the file system based on usage patterns. To detect and prevent unauthorized access to the file system. The Lustre monitoring tool helps administrators track various performance metrics and debug issues within their Lustre file system, aiding in optimization and troubleshooting. What is the minimum file system size supported by Amazon FSx for Lustre? 10 GB, 1.2 TB, 100 MB, 500 GB. Amazon FSx for Lustre supports file systems starting from 1.2 TB in size. How does Amazon FSx for Lustre handle data durability for persistent file systems? It replicates data within the same availability zone. It relies on the durability of the underlying instance store volumes. It does not provide any data replication for persistent file systems. It replicates data across multiple AWS regions. FSx for Lustre persistent file systems replicate data within the same availability zone to provide high levels of data durability. Which of the following correctly describes the concept of bursting in the context of Amazon FSx for Lustre? It allows the file system to temporarily exceed its baseline throughput. It automatically increases the storage capacity during peak usage. It refers to the ability to quickly delete large amounts of data. It enables faster data transfer between the file system and EC2 instances. Bursting in FSx for Lustre allows the file system to temporarily exceed its baseline throughput to handle spikes in workload, providing additional performance when needed. Which of the following statements is true about the data transfer between Amazon FSx for Lustre and Amazon S3? Data transfer incurs standard AWS data transfer charges. Data transfer between FSx for Lustre and S3 in the same region is free. Data transfer is billed at a reduced rate compared to standard data transfer. Data transfer is only free for the first 10 TB per month. When Amazon FSx for Lustre and Amazon S3 are in the same AWS region, data transfer between them is free, which can significantly reduce costs for data-intensive workloads. Which of the following accurately describes how Amazon FSx for Lustre handles file system recovery for Scratch file systems? It allows users to manually initiate recovery from a specific point in time. It reconstructs the file system from data stored in Amazon S3. It does not provide file system recovery for Scratch file systems. It automatically recovers the file system from the most recent backup. FSX for Lustre does not provide file system recovery for Scratch file systems because they are designed for temporary data processing and do not maintain backups or replicate data. What is the maximum storage capacity supported by a single Amazon FSX for Lustre file system? 1 exabyte. 1 terabyte. 10 gigabytes. Hundreds of petabytes. Amazon FSX for Lustre is designed to scale to hundreds of petabytes of data in a single file system, supporting the storage needs of data-intensive workloads. How does Amazon FSX for Lustre support concurrent file operations across multiple compute instances? It assigns each file to a specific compute instance to avoid conflicts. It provides distributed locking and coherent caching. It requires applications to implement their own locking mechanisms. It allows only read operations to be performed concurrently. FSX for Lustre supports concurrent file operations by providing distributed locking and coherent caching, allowing multiple compute instances to access the same files simultaneously. What is the maximum storage capacity per Lustre file system that can be provisioned with Amazon FSX for Lustre? 50 terabytes. Multiple petabytes. Multiple terabytes. 500 gigabytes. Amazon FSX for Lustre supports file systems with storage capacities ranging from hundreds of gigabytes to multiple petabytes. How does Amazon FSX for Lustre handle file locking to maintain data consistency? It does not support file locking. Applications must implement their own locking. It only supports exclusive write locks on entire files. It provides distributed locking at the file and byte range level. It uses a centralized lock manager that can become a bottleneck. FSX for Lustre provides distributed locking at both the file and byte range level, ensuring data consistency while allowing concurrent access where possible. What is the purpose of the Amazon FSX for Lustre data compression feature? To reduce storage consumption and lower costs. To encrypt data at rest for enhanced security. To improve data transfer speeds between the file system and S3. To enable deduplication of redundant data blocks. The data compression feature in FSX for Lustre aims to reduce storage consumption by compressing data, which can lead to lower storage costs without sacrificing performance. What is the recommended way to protect data in an Amazon FSX for Lustre persistent file system? Create a mirror of the file system in another availability zone. Manually copy data to an S3 bucket daily. Enable automatic daily backups. Replicate the file system to another AWS region. Enabling automatic daily backups is the recommended way to protect data in an FSX for Lustre persistent file system, as it allows for point-in-time recovery. What is the primary purpose of the Amazon FSX for Lustre auto import feature? To automatically import new and changed objects from S3 into the file system. To migrate data between different FSX for Lustre file systems. To import data from on-premises storage systems into FSX for Lustre. To import machine learning models from SageMaker into the file system. The auto-import feature allows FSX for Lustre to automatically detect and import new or changed objects from a linked S3 bucket into the file system, keeping data in sync. What does Amazon FSX for Lustre use to manage file systems and data? Management Console or API. Web browser. Third-party tools. Command line interface only. Amazon FSx for Lustre uses either the Management Console or API for managing file systems and data. What type of data caching does Amazon FSx for Lustre support? Object-based caching, block-level caching, in-memory caching, persistent storage caching. Amazon FSx for Lustre supports block-level caching to improve read and write performance. What is the primary purpose of Amazon FSx for Lustre in high-performance computing workloads? To provide a high-performance file system optimized for fast processing of workloads. To provide a distributed key-value data store for real-time applications. To store and retrieve large amounts of data in object storage. To offer a managed relational database service for transactional workloads. Amazon FSx for Lustre is designed to provide a high-performance file system that is optimized for fast processing of workloads such as HPC, machine learning, and media data processing in the cloud. What is the maximum data transfer speed per file system supported by Amazon FSx for Lustre? Hundreds of gigabytes per second. 10 megabytes per second. 1 terabyte per second. Up to 1 gigabyte per second. Amazon FSx for Lustre supports transfer speeds of hundreds of gigabytes per second. Which AWS service provides fully managed file storage optimized for compute-intensive workloads such as machine learning, high-performance computing, and video processing? Amazon FSx for Lustre. Amazon EFS. Amazon Glacier. Amazon S3. Amazon FSx for Lustre provides high-performance file storage for compute-intensive workloads. How does Amazon FSx for Lustre provide durability and availability for data? Data is mirrored across multiple file systems. Data is stored in Amazon S3 Glacier. Data is replicated within an availability zone. Data is replicated across multiple regions. Amazon FSx for Lustre replicates data within an availability zone for durability and availability. What is the primary benefit of using Amazon FSx for Lustre with AWS Parallel Cluster? It provides a graphical user interface for monitoring cluster performance. It simplifies the deployment and management of high-performance file systems for HPC clusters. It enables cross-region replication of the file system. It automatically optimizes the cluster's network topology. Using FSx for Lustre with AWS Parallel Cluster simplifies the deployment and management of high-performance file systems, making it easier to set up and run HPC workloads. What is the main difference between FSx for Lustre's scratch file systems and persistent file systems in terms of data replication? Persistent file systems do not support data replication at all. Scratch file systems replicate data more frequently than persistent file systems. Scratch file systems do not replicate data, while persistent file systems do. Both file system types replicate data across multiple availability zones. The key difference is that scratch file systems in FSx for Lustre do not replicate data, accepting the risk of data loss for better performance, while persistent file systems replicate data for durability. What is the typical latency range for file operations with Amazon FSx for Lustre? Nanoseconds. Milliseconds. Microseconds. Seconds. Amazon FSx for Lustre typically provides file operation latencies in milliseconds. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and, if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.